So the general agreed upon consensus is that if you have a baby that was born after 2010, that child or offspring is in fact a member of Generation Alpha, right? And so we're constantly reminded about generational titles, right? Just bombarded all the time, especially for me, especially for millennials. I get it, right? It's like, hey, I'm a millennial, and that is, and then go on from there or whatever. But point in fact, children born after the year 2010 to 2025, for all lack of better terms, are Generation Alpha children, right? And so Generation Alpha, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about millennials children, which is where Generation Alpha comes from. I have a daughter. Her name is Valentina. She is a member of Generation Alpha. She's born in 2015, right? You feel me? So, like, that's more or less, the bigger picture, and something to kind of understand too is that Generation Alpha is the first generation of people in the United States that are growing up with little to no experience without technology. We see examples ranging from infants all the way up to pre-adolescence in terms of Generation Alpha and their um, need to have technological things around them, right? Like the iPad kids. Okay, so how does it feel, millennial? I'm a millennial. I've helped produce, essentially, I guess, iPad children, right? I mean, there's a little more to it than that, I'd say, as far as its complexity goes, right? I'd argue that millennial parents don't just give their children pieces of electronical devices, or like an iPad or whatever, and it doesn't necessarily take the place of like a babysitter or real time or whatever spent immersing in some kind of other language improvement kind of an exercise or whatever. Like, my generation and the one prior to that have played video games, went to arcades, stuff like that, right? So entertainment has evolved, and I get that. And on some level, I think it's entirely appropriate and acceptable for um, alpha generation children to be so close and intimate with technology, in that they literally know nothing else. Now, again, it's good in that if technology is linear and progress continues to move forward, then it'll probably be because Generation Alpha children have had the most experience with tech, and they're able to thereby make it better, right? Just for being such an experienced end user, essentially, right? And it's purveyance into sort of how it works and stuff like that. And so again, there are some benefits. Plus, obviously, right, unlimited learning, all of these things, as it concerns the technological capabilities of some of these devices, such as an iPad that we give to kids or whatever, right, to so that they can be distracted, right, in better, like a better way of saying that, right, because we distract ourselves as adults in certain social situations by bringing our phone out, right? So again, it's maybe not distraction such a bad thing so much as it's always bad when it's like there's such a thing as too much of a good thing, I'd say, right? And moderation is key. Moderation is the key to life. You feel me? Like, you got to be balanced in some regard. Otherwise, it like just doesn't tend to work out for as long, or in a cool kind of a way or whatever. So I know that Generation Alpha is literally now, right, entering a point. The oldest of the Generation Alpha children are now entering a point where they're young adults. And again, I've been super public on this channel and as a platform moving forward all ways, will be the very idea that I would like to empower younger people by making that like voting age lower and stuff, right? And so we're literally, if people were to like kind of maybe understand and like begin to discuss that sort of idea, Generation Alpha is like right there, right? They're right at they're entering into an age where they're going to be young adults. They're going to be the first of them are going to be going into college. They're going to be, going into the workforce. And if you've seen the state of the workforce currently as a grown adult, right, you've known maybe that it's not as healthy and vibrant as we'd all like it to be. And so there's always these things we can prepare our younger people for too, But Generation Alpha, it's going to be interesting to continue to talk about them as the years go by and as they become more involved with social aspects in life that are going to readily need and require and mandate their participation as far as their future goes, as far as all of our collective futures go, but specifically this new generation that's coming to be adults, right? And so I think it's kind of a big deal, honestly, and it makes me feel super old, honestly. And it makes me wonder what happened to the generation after millennial and between alpha or whatever. And I think I can Google it. It's like Generation X or Y or something, but it's sort of like, am I the only one that's like trying to do some basic math here in terms of like if millennials were born from this time to this time and then all of a sudden, alpha gen babies pop up, then like what happened in between? Like why doesn't anybody want to be like that generation? Everybody, it's like you can't be either an alpha member generation or whatever and a millennial, right? I mean, I don't know. I've looked these generational definitions up before and it's like another rabbit hole. So maybe do something like that yourself. Generation Alpha, I'm a fan and I look forward to working with you guys in a way that will allow the world to positively net change for positive for, yeah, you feel me.